Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about Starlink Beta launch. So let's dive right into it. Well, first I have already covered Starlink and their satellite and all the technology. So I'm just going to give a rough overview so people have some idea what we are talking about. We are talking about Starlink, and it is a space-based ISP, aka Internet Service Provider. So generally Internet Service Provider started to use phone lines to deliver connection. Then they started to use cable. Then they started to use fiber, sometimes 4G, sometimes 3G. You name it. So this puppy wants to do the same thing, provide internet service, but using space, satellites. So that's what we are talking about. And what's their selling point? The core reason, like you buy fiber because it's the fastest, you buy cable because it's cheapest. Like there always have to be some unique selling point. So this has unique selling point of worldwide coverage. So same way we have www, World Wide Web, this will have worldwide coverage. So that is tangibly achievable with this technology. Now, selling point of a satellite internet always has been there, that worldwide coverage. And there are many companies that do provide at this point in time, satellite coverage, so to say. But problem is most of them are very slow and ludicrously high latency, and that is not acceptable in modern world where people use internet for many things. For example, actual face-to-face communication, and because the world ended in 2020, the demand for those kind of real-time services went up exponentially. So at this point in time, you cannot sell someone, hey, I do have a very high throughput internet, but the latency is very high. If people can't maintain a proper video call, they're like, no thank you. So fundamentally latency is also a key. So they are solving both of them. It's like they're gonna give you a very good internet and they're gonna give you very low latency. Now, how the heck they're gonna do this magical thing which nobody till this point has able to achieve? Simple, a lot of satellite. You can cover whole planet with good internet with 6 satellite utilizing a geostationary orbit. Consequence of that would be no matter what you do, because of inverse square law and because of the fact that light speed is fixed, you cannot do too much to bandwidth, and nor you will be able to do much to latency. Like you will be fundamentally limited. So you want to bring the satellite closer. There is a service for US Army that provides that service, but they use what we call MEO, medium earth satellite. Basically they are using the same orbit used by GPS satellite. Benefit, much better throughput and lower latency, but still nowhere near a normal internet connection. So they are going low earth orbit. At this point in time, its latency is comparable to almost everything else. So at this point it's no longer like really bad. It's like it's more or less same, because the moment you go below 50 ms, you can maintain a proper video call without too much issue. You go below 20, you GG. You go below 10, it's like, yeah, it's awesome. At that point you are complaining, it's pointless. So how they are achieving? A lot of satellite. And you have to be mindful, there have been mobile phones, satellite mobile phone that have internet, but they have very low throughput. So to solve that, they have huge dish. Now to give you a context of this dish, it's basically same size as like normal satellite TV dish, bit smaller than that. So not too big, but it is big, and it's not something that you can expect to put in your mobile phone. And the core technology running all these things behind is phase shift technology. Basically you can have a flat disk, and it can literally aim the signal to whatever satellite is going past. Because be mindful, it's not just receiving like a TV system, it's also transmitting, and it's transmitting at equal bandwidth. So it's not like a satellite dish TV where it's like, I'm receiving few megabits per second and I'm transmitting like 1 or 2 kilobits per second just so you can verify the customer. So this has to be symmetrical. So fundamentally phase shift technology is necessary. Without it, flat out, this technology could not have been done. So what about this beta program? They have already launched, because you have to understand this. At this point in time, there are 3 companies that are claiming they're gonna make satellite internet. Starlink, which we are talking about, SpaceX, why I'm saying SpaceX, Blue Origin already have a project Kuiper that they want to do, but so far they have not even managed to make a orbital rocket, so let alone satellite launching, that's far away. And then you're talking about OneWeb basically, and they have successfully launched satellites, but they went bankrupt, and now they have been sold to US, basically UK government plus Bharat, basically telecommunications giant. So to say, not looking good. So out of 3 that was serious, as in like they had enough money to actually pull this off, only one is at a point where they're like, no, our service is ready, at least in this band of USA. So where is this quote unquote band? Is basically exactly in the border of Canada and United States. So if you are in that border region, you are generally very good chance you can get the communication. You have to send them email of your geolocation, and they will check it whether they can give coverage or not. Now be mindful, this is a beta, so flat out their email was very clear about this. It's like, dude, temper your expectation, and it's better than nothing kind of situation where it's like only buy us if you have nothing else, or you have really bad system, then give us a try. Do not expect, oh, I have fiber, I want to compare against a fiber. No, don't even try to do that. They are very clear, honest about that. And why this band? So far they have launched a satellite that is giving whole world coverage, and their aim point is like phase 1 should have 4,000 satellite, but they can give worldwide coverage, or at least full coverage to USA if they reach 1500 satellite milestone. So and they have reached 800 so far, which is not a small amount. Be mindful, that is like further than anybody else, but they still have a very long way to go. So that's why that small region. And their point at this point in time is $100 per month you have to pay. That is around 7,500 rupees, and it will give you 100 Mbps plus 100 Mbps. Now be mindful, this is claim speed, so their claim speed is like 100 Mbps to 150, and most people who got the system, who are doing the early test bud system, they are getting around 70 to 100 Mbps. Very few are getting 150, but like 100, like it's at a point where you can run a proper Netflix 4K without any issue. And two people can tangibly do that without too much buffering. So fundamentally very good connection, and for rural area, for remote areas, that's godsend. So fundamentally not a bad situation. And this number will sound very high to us like Indians, basically 7,500 rupees, like, because at that point I think in India I can easily get a 1 Gbps connection in most places, and I'm gonna get like around 6 terabyte of data. So fundamentally we have very good fiber penetration in the market. But this price may sound very steep, but for the people who are stuck in rural area, this is like, dude, this is free, like shut up and take my money. And you have to buy the base antenna, basically base station, that is $500, that is 37,000 rupees. Now that may sound high, but you have to realize there are Wi-Fi 6 router and Wi-Fi 6E router that are exactly the same price. And the reason why the price is so high is not as cheap as like let's say dish TV, is because of the phase shift array technology. So that is to be expected, and it was designed bit properly. So it's like it's a bit motorized, where it's like if it periodically it can clean itself. So basically it can go from flat disk like this to open like this, so water can shed. So some good designs have been done, and the price, while it's very expensive from Indian point of view, because like again, if you wanna tell me like I have to pay 7,500 rupees for 100 Mbps, and not to mention which will break down, be mindful, even in the email it's like you may end up a position where it's like satellite will not give you coverage for few minutes a day. That's why that only band is there. So what hardware they are actually giving you? They're giving you basically 3 things in one giant box, and it's a motorized antenna. The antenna was very specifically designed so it can be very conveniently easily mounted. So you do not need quote unquote professional to do this puppy. You can do it yourself reliably, accurately, not too much hassle. So it's a really good engineering design. And they have PoE injector, basically PoE injector to power this puppy. So you do not have to like, okay, data line plus the power line. It's all been taken care by this PoE injector. And I like Apple's in terms of their design aesthetic. Like somebody put some thought into design, and I rarely see that with every other company. Every other company wants to be like Apple, like wants to be exploitative like Apple, but they're like, dude, at least try to put some effort in your design. They have done it. So I'm truly grateful, because like subtle touches, all they did is like they have 2 color coded wire, black wire that is outdoor rated, and they have white one which is supposed to go to your basically router, and they've color coded that in PoE, so you cannot mix this up. Like again, if you are stupid you can mix it up, but generally you will see a black cable, you will see a black slot, you're gonna put a black cable in a black slot. You see a white cable, you see a white slot, you're gonna put white cable in white slot. Simple. It would barely take somebody a few minutes to figure this out. Like that's surprisingly good. Like somebody put some time into it. Now be mindful, while I'm saying it is PoE, it's a bit high power PoE, as in like port 1, that is like for outdoor rated, that is 56 volts at around 1.6 amps. So this puppy is strong. Like total power output of the basically PoE is around 180 watt. So be mindful, if you're thinking, oh, I'm just gonna run it from a small UPS, no, you're gonna need a big beefy UPS to run this puppy. Again, it's a satellite communication system. So while the another router they are giving, that's a bit odd to me, simply because they have PoE injector, they have a lot of power, and they have to like basically decode satellite signal into a usable Ethernet signal. They are only taking that Ethernet signal, making it into a what we call wireless access point, and distributing it using 5 GHz and 2.5 GHz. Awesome, but like Where else are your ports? Like, why the heck you don't have ports? Every single router nowadays have 4 ports or 6 ports. So why the heck they are stuck at, like, one extra port? And like, and that also they did not call it something like auxiliary port. Like, you have to connect, if you want to connect a network, let's say you want to run a small office or something like that, or you have a lot of connected devices in your home, you have to have another switch. So it's kind of odd to me. It's like, why the heck you have only one port? Like, in nowadays, like, every Tom, Dick and Harry has multiple devices connected to it. That does seem kind of off, and you really don't want to rely on Wi-Fi. Fundamentally, you don't want to rely on Wi-Fi. So that's a bit odd, but again, it's a solvable issue. And if you are spending like $500 buying a cheap router or a switch to provide a proper wired network, or like access point some far away, that's not too much of a stress. So hardware is like good, not great, but good. What about cost? Now this is the main basically chicken and egg kind of scenario, because there is a paradox to the cost. For example, you make cost per head high, you only need few people. So what does that mean? That simply means rural areas have few people. So if SpaceX is only selling to them, they do not need like, okay, we need 50,000 customers. They will be like, dude, we will be happy if we only have 5,000 customers. And you are much likely to find 5,000 customers at high prices than you are to find them at very high prices. So high per head means they have to they can be satisfied with a few people. However, if they want to keep the per head price low, they have to have many people to feed that. That's how service system works. But there is a problem. So you will find a lot of people in cities, you will find a lot of people in places where have high population. Here's the moment you have a lot of people, you have many heads. Many heads attracts options. For example, in India we had a Geo fiber. The reason Geo was spreading everywhere because they saw a market opportunity. All this, like, in metropolitan Indias, or they were I'm saying, in metropolitan places, you never have to worry about basically getting internet coverage. Like, when I was in Bangalore, GG coverage, I don't have to think about it. But when I'm in my small town, I'm not getting any system. Flat out, nope, zero. But Geo saw that opportunity. It's like, so many people are there. If I lay down the foundation, I can sell them on a low cost, because I will sell so many of the connection. So that's, they started to work on that. So that is the main chicken and egg situation. Because they want to cover the rural area, but here's the deal, there are not that many people in rural area. So how the heck they're gonna extract all their money back? And the moment they're going to compete in, let's say, high density urban areas, they have better option. It's like and not to mention, in this like, let's say you are in a high urban area, your satellite system will not work, simply because it needs a very clear line of sight. So unless you are in the tallest building, you will not get the clear line of sight that is needed. So fundamentally, there is a very chicken of egg situation kind of here. So that's a very big paradox. It's like, do I keep per head price high so I can be satisfied with few people, or I keep the price per head low, but then I have to sell to much more customer? Because SpaceX have eligibility spending about $10 billion, and they want to get $30 billion out of it per year. So that's a tough goal, basically. So what we can expect in the future? Now, be mindful, this service is the only one that I can talk about, as in, like, it's real, as in, like, at least some people somewhere on the planet can achieve this at this point in time. And with their current rate of progress, they should have worldwide coverage by 2023. So they're moving along, and they're much ahead than compared to everything else. So fundamentally, they're good, they're golden, and they are greatest option for remote worker. Basically, if you have to go somewhere else, let's say some wildlife sanctuary, or some remote weather station, or basically if you are living far about where you have no connection to civilization, this puppy is your best option. Fundamentally, you will pay them no matter how much they ask, simply because they have the option. There is no other option. So that's awesome. And mobile users, now, while be mindful, this current generation is not ready for mobile. They have kind of geo-locking situation to it. Elon Musk specifically specified that they're gonna take care of it, and they're gonna be like a dedicated unit will be built that will be like for boats, RVs, basically people who are moving around a lot and they need good reliable internet connection. They will be taken care of, and those people only can be served with satellite internet. So those people are not going anywhere. Those are like fixed customer base. They're only gonna use this, and there is no other satellite internet service that is even close to be ready. So that's good. That's the GG department. However, you have to understand this aspect very thoroughly. USA has very terrible internet. It should not have this bad internet, simply because government spends lot of money on lot of ISP. It's like, dude, shut up, we're gonna give you millions of dollars, lay a fiber down. Only, I know there is only 15 people there, I will pay you, lay down the infrastructure cost, and if they take it, awesome. If they don't take it, you did not lose any money, because I paid for it. And all the ISP, they are like, shut up, give your money, I'm not gonna do anything, because they are monopoly, because they are in some places duopolies, like, two of them are negotiating price between them. So customer just gets trolled. So fundamentally all these ISP, they're trolling. They should, USA should not have such a bad internet where I'm like, dude, I will not pay that much for 100 Mbps. I have, like, I can get 100 Mbps in India for surprisingly cheap amount of money, less than 1000 rupees. And I'm talking major cities, that's like, bro, we got this. Small towns, I'm not talking like very big towns, small towns, we got this. And even villages, they are getting very good coverage very soon. So we are like much far ahead, like much far ahead, with much higher quality internet, much more percentage of Indians can access it. So they have really bad. However, that being said, if they Starlink starts to actually shell, where they're like, whoa, let's say Verizon and all the service providers, they're like, no, we are losing customer, they can turn the tide on one simple thing. They already have pre-built foundation, they have billions of dollars laying around. They just be like, yeah, with the dollars that we are consuming for government, what if we actually used it? Like, what if we used it, like, the billions of dollars that government is giving to lay down the fibers, let's say we did that. So they can easily compete with Starlink, and they can actually do that. Like, all rural area can be easily be covered, specifically area that has mobile tower. It already has a good fiber link done, pre-done already there. So if these companies, they start to get their act together, they can tangibly give SpaceX a run for their money. They could be like, whoa, SpaceX. So SpaceX is a very small window of opportunity where they're like, no, we are the only option. Right now they are in a very serious position where they're like, no, we are the only option, because all ISP is like, what the hell customer is gonna do? For example, in my places, Geo Fiber, it's a godsend kind of scenario. Like, I live in a small town, only Geo Fiber is a good option. But when Geo Fiber was launched in India, they had a beta project, and the beta project was like, okay, everybody was getting 100 Mbps upload, 100 Mbps download, 1 Gbps upload, 1 Gbps download. Everything was symmetric. And then the connection started, and it's like, okay, you are getting final production customer connection. Awesome. Here's the deal. Randomly, everybody noticed, wait a minute, why the heck my upload speed is 10% of the download? So it does not matter, no matter how much connection you are getting, you are always getting 10% in upload. So I had to buy a 250 Mbps connection just so I can have 25 Mbps upload. So that was trolling, because they did not have a competitor. The moment Airtel came into the scene, and it's like, no, we also gonna provide fiber connection, Jio was like, no, don't go to them, don't go to them, don't go to them. Like, I was trolling you, I was wasting your money, I was exploiting you, you felt bad, man. Like, come on, you have to be a bit more generous with your money. You have to just give us for free. Okay, we understand it, now we're gonna fix the connection. So my connection got better. I did not have to do anything, my connection just got better. I went from 250 Mbps to 300 Mbps. Not too much of a big deal, but the main deal was my upload went from asymmetric to symmetric. So I'm getting exactly, like, I'm getting 200 plus upload, which is necessary for me. I am a YouTuber. So that's the whole thing. We have to have competition. So at this point in time, if all the ISPs in USA is like, we're not gonna do any damn thing, if they go from that to like, no, let's compete against this, they can destroy SpaceX before SpaceX even reaches, like, let's say 2000 satellite mark. So there is a serious competition there. It's not like, all forgotten. Again, mobile users, remote users, awesome, but they don't have enough people there. Then another aspect is SpaceX internal bottleneck. The biggest bottleneck is Falcon 9. It's not powerful enough. Falcon 9 can send 60 satellites. That's a GG amount. That's like one orbital plane taken care of in one go. Awesome. Given how many orbital planes they want to cover, it's like, nope, flat out no. And not to mention, it's a use and throw system where even if they try to recover, let's say, fairings, they will not gonna recover fairings every time. Even if they try to reuse the booster, they cannot reuse the booster 10 times. They can only use 7 or 8. So fundamentally, the system is not gonna, it's like good enough to lay the foundation. It's like, okay, let's get the ball rolling, but they have to complete Starship very quickly. And the reason for that is Starship is completely reusable, so they will not have a single part that is thrown out. Another aspect of that is it uses methane, so engine runs much more cleanly, so to say. So benefit of that, they can maximum achieve 8 or 9 reuse from Falcon 9. They can achieve 40 plus reuse from Starship, so that is tangibly good. And because they are using, instead of RP1, which is super expensive, they are using LNG or liquefied natural gas or methane. It's much more cost effective also, and because of the fact that it can launch 430 satellites in one go. Right now in their current situation, SpaceX can keep launching it, but they are in a position where they have to keep launching it, because again, satellite breaks down, satellite collapse into the Earth's atmosphere, things like that keeps happening. That's a constant, like it's like you have a big bucket of water and some water is always leaking. So SpaceX upload speed is so low that is like, we have to constantly keep uploading. They will never be in a position, no, we are done, we only have to launch some other satellite if a large chunk of our satellite goes offline, so they are not in a position, they cannot finish the system. They're like, we are launching 100, 100 is breaking down, we are launching 100, 100 is breaking down. So that they cannot do that. So fundamentally they have to get the Starship working very quickly as possible, because the time it will take Starship to get to a position where it can actually launch satellite, that is like 4 years away from this point on. So as in like 2025 if we are lucky. And not to mention, that gives 4 years for general internet service provider to be like, hey, what if instead of exploiting people, we actually gave them a service where they're like, dude, we gave you money, you gave us a service, everybody is happy. What if they did that? So again, very unlikely, not 99% sure, and that's not gonna happen, but that is a serious threat. Then people should be very aware of that. And you really don't want a monopoly. Like, it will become bad again if it just becomes a monopoly. It's like so pricing flat out $100 for 100 Mbps, like, again, it is true that for basically rural area, that's like free comparatively. Like, whoa, you want 100 Mbps in like middle of nowhere at $100? No, you have to pay $10,000. That is extra. Like, people have done that much. So again, future is very interesting. So this was my presentation on Starlink's basically beta project. I hope you liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike. Press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.